Today we're talking about dining rooms and how a sensory processing difficulty might be impacted within a dining room environment. So before I go into talking about dining rooms, just want to make you aware of our sensory dining room. So that's a training experience where we can train up the whole of your team or your group about some of these difficulties relating to meal times. So you're given an experience, you're served a 3-course meal, and throughout the training we cover ways that the environment and the food may be impacted by a sensory processing difficulty and how we can then support those sensory needs so that then those situations, those times can be more manageable and more enjoyable. Okay, so in dining rooms there's a lot of sensory stimulation. So for example, sounds. There's lots of external sounds generally. There may well be sounds from other rooms, people, so especially if it's a dining hall, but even at home in the evenings, dinner time is a sociable time, so there's always people talking, there's always other things going on at the same time. Tables and chairs make sounds when they're moved. Crockery, so knife and fork on the plate. You read a quote at the beginning of the month about how someone had to eat off plastic plates and cutlery because of the noise that it made, the sound that it made was just too overwhelming. Visually, again, the windows, so you're going to get a lot of light that comes in. It might be that the crockery is quite reflective. It might be that the kind of lights that are used are flickering lights. It might be the colour of the room. If there's lots of pattern on the wall, if there's lots of pictures on the walls, might become distracting. And patterns on crockery as well, so flowery plates or colourful plates, they're all going to impact visually as well. The environment, the smell that the environment has, so for example, if you are at school and your dining hall is actually a sports hall, then it may well be that within that room there's lots of other smells relating to the last PE class. Or even at home, if your dining room is also your study, it may well be that other smells are within that environment, so just think about that. But also when you're cooking, smells travel, so whatever food you're cooking, it's likely that the smell is going to be travelling as well. So those are some of the things about the environment. Now let's think specifically about food. So auditory stimulation, visual stimulation, tactile, smell, taste. All of our 7 senses are impacted by food. So if you're a picky eater, it's not necessarily relating to your sense of taste. A lot of the time we will presume that, but actually it can be related to any of the 7 senses. So it's about identifying what their sensory needs are first in order for us to be able to support that. So within an environment, we're able to recognise if someone is sensitive to sound, so there's lots of sounds happening in the environment, if they're sensitive to sound and they're eating bland food, they might be eating, soft food. They're eating soft food because when they eat hard food, it makes more sounds. So then that becomes even more overwhelming. So we're just going to be talking about the environments, but I wanted to just touch on how much food has an impact on all of our 7 sensory systems.